never get
Good afternoon, everyone.
There's no comfort. I don't know. That phone call I picked up,
Good afternoon, everyone.
black again.
We'll call to order for the public hearing, and we'll start off with the roll call, please.
Bob Candelaria.
Sandra Kidman. Dee McCary.
Rob Varner, Superintendent.
Ed Franklin and Deborah Ray, the current president, is currently out for medical. And under the public hearing, we'll have a presentation on the improvement plan process for Page Middle School by Jenny Woods and Alyssa Covington.
You have to turn it on.
Can you hear me now?
It doesn't sound like it.
I can't hear.
Probably, you might need to hold it.
Okay, now? Yeah. You can hear me now? Okay. Good evening. I'm here to present the precursor before Ms. Covington's presentation regarding Page Middle School being identified as a comprehensive school and improvement for school year 18-19. Just for some background information before we begin, my 6-slide presentation really is a condensed version of school improvement guidance, a 62-page document, which was released by Arizona Department of Education in May of last year. So although preliminary A through F letter grades for last school year, 17-18, were released in November, and we received notification at that time that Manson Mesa High School was an F school in the bottom 5% of all schools in the state, and were given very specific guidance as to what our next steps were for them. It wasn't until May of this year that we were given our next steps as to what Page Middle School needed to do as being identified with a final letter grade of a D for school year 17-18. These are the requirements that are within that document, with specific dates of when this needed to happen. So by June 15th of this year, so within 30 days after receiving notice of our classification, Ms. Covington did send a letter to parents notifying them of the identification, and she gave requirements at that time of how they were going to work through this process. Right now, their plan of improvement, their integrated action plan, is the same integrated action plan that they were working under for school year 17-18. So very few changes have happened at this point in terms of their continuous improvement plan or their school integrated action plan until they receive further training from the Arizona Department of Education. In June of this year, Stephanie Hansen attended a meeting in the Valley where they were given this preliminary information of how to move forward, and then a school team has been identified to attend training in September where they will receive additional guidance on how to conduct a root cause analysis and how to more formally set up their SMART goals as they move forward. So we are well on our way in the process of all of this. Second hard bullet, second soft bullet, where it says submit a copy of the plan to the Superintendent of Public Instruction and the County Educational Service Agency. All plans live within the platform of ELITE, meaning that when we say that this is a fluid document, every time we go in and make changes to our plan, it's automatically saved and shared that way. So where Superintendent Varner had to make a follow-up call to make sure that we were compliant with that, it is a living, breathing document that lives within ELITE. So as the school moves forward with their team and making these changes, that's where the document will be changed. Here are some specific requirements. Again, we have gone through this with Manson Mesa, so we understand what this needs to look like, that they are very particular, and our program specialist, we are on our 3rd program specialist for this year. We had one identified for us that we had a long-term relationship with, and unfortunately she passed away in January of this year. We were given an intermediate program specialist, which we worked with for the last 4 months, and Northern Arizona recently hired our newest program specialist that we will continue working with through this process. So we are excited about having that sustainability with her as we move forward. But here are all of the things that will need to be written within Page Middle School's Integrated Action Plan, and they will have very specific SMART goals of which they will write as they move forward. And again, part of Ms. Covington's presentation will share at least those initial goals with you. These are the 5 required goals that will need to be written. One is around ELA achievement, and the measurement of that will be the combined total of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade proficiency on AZ merit, and the number of students that we will need to move based on 17-18 scores versus the spring administration of this test. The second one, again, is in math achievement, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade mathematics, and there will be some bonus points added for the students that are enrolled in that 8th grade algebra or end-of-course assessment at that school. Science achievement, as measured by Ames, is also a goal that they will be monitoring very closely. So those are 3 goals that no matter what, that must be written within their plan. Additional required goals that they give you some flexibility on, depending upon what you find out, the results from your comprehensive needs assessment. So as their team goes in and really starts digging deep into their data, and they look at subgroup data, and they look at other achievement areas, they will have some flexibility in this area by choosing a comprehensive needs assessment indicator and some other way of showing that students are progressing at the rate they need to. These were the 3 examples that were written that they can choose from, and again, as they meet with their specialists in September, they will be given some additional guidance as to which one may be appropriate for their school to monitor and track. But there will be 5 required goals in total for Page Middle School. These are the required school systems for all schools and improvement. And really, these are just basic pillars that make up a foundation of any well-functioning school or school district. So the first one is written evidence and standards-based curriculum. If during your comprehensive needs assessment and your analysis of your data, if you discover that you do not have that in place, that is one of the first things that you want to put in place within your campus, is to be able to say we have a viable curriculum and this is how our students are taught and this is what our Tier 1 instruction looks like. So they look at that required structure first and foremost. Then the others kind of lead naturally into the progression of what that needs to look like. So if you continue a balanced assessment system only works if you have a viable curriculum in place so that you know that you are measuring student progress appropriately. And the list continues. Professional learning communities, multi-tiered systems of support, observation and feedback, and the last one is that operational flexibility. So really, when we talk about decisions that are made at the site level, when we are talking about a school getting out of improvement, sometimes there needs to be out-of-the-box thinking in terms of how are we managing systems as we move forward. And again, additional guidance will be given to Page Middle School as they move forward and how to be creative in getting out of being a school in improvement. So that's what those indicators mean. And finally, I wanted to share this graphic because you've seen this on my board report every single time that I share with you, and I will continue to show this. So because this is a new requirement, although ADE has required a continuous improvement plan from schools from the beginning of time, now with new ESSA regulations being more stringent, they are looping that back in a different way than we've seen before. So where it used to be the writing of the strategic plan and then the district plan and school plans, they really have inverted that to say we need to look at the individual needs of a school. The school must write their plan of action to meet those needs. The district needs to come alongside for support of that all under the umbrella of what is your district's strategic plan as you move forward. So I wanted to end and share that slide with you. Any questions about the compliance parts and pieces of that before Ms. Covington presents the actual plan moving forward from Page Middle School?
Thank you, Ms. Wood, and good evening, Governing Board President, Governing Board members, staff, students, and families. We are Page Middle School, where every day we build relationships so that students can reach their highest potential academically, cognitively, and socially. All of the elements in our plan moving forward, and this is just the plan's process, align to our strategic plan as well as to the IAP principles, the Integrative Action Plan principles. What we decided to do as a school was to actually place everything that we do under the systems of AVID, because we are an AVID school. So the IAP and the strategic plan align to the pillars of AVID, which are leadership, curriculum, instruction, and culture. And that is how we are addressing our school improvement plan, through those pillars. Here's AVID's mission. As a means to close the achievement gap, we decided to go with a strategic approach, tying all pieces together in order to move quicker. So you'll see some things in the draft that I prepared for you that really speak to having shared and distributed leadership, things we've done or are doing to change the culture of our school, the different systems that we have put in place, also aligned with our scheduling, and what we're doing to impact and improve instruction. These were the initial goals that we came up with, and this was before the training, so we did some work with our team in May, at the end of the year, knowing that this was coming up. So these are some of the goals that we established and that we wrote. But due to the training in June, and then our second part of training, they will be changing to more, to much more align with the expectations. You'll notice that science is not listed there, and that's one of the areas, as well as our subgroups. One of our main foci at the middle school is building relationships. To launch our plan, we started with what we felt would make the most impact to teaching and learning, and that was building relationships and changing the culture of our schools by improving student-to-student relationships, student-to-teacher relationships, teacher-to-student relationships, and staff-to-staff relationships. By doing these, we believe that it would decrease negative student behavior that was impacting or prohibiting the movement or traction within the classroom, as well as increasing academic achievement. Some of the things that we did in order to build relationships and community, we minimized the 6th grade exposure to 7th and 8th graders throughout the day. We created the skills development classes, making 6th grade AVID focused, 7th grade community and social and emotional focused. So 1 day a week, whole school, we have an AVID lesson, 2 days a week a social emotional lesson, and 1 day a week is class council with advisory as well. To extend that, within our skills development, we also have a reteach and enrich block, which will begin after we do our assessments. We'll start with our NWEA assessments next week. Then we have built in to assist with teaching and instruction some common planning time, which we'll talk more in depth about in a moment. Some of the highlights or the wins that we've had so far with instruction is that all of our teaching vacancies are currently filled with certificated individuals. We have one position that's currently in transition, but it is expected to be filled also with someone who is certificated. The majority of our staff is AVID trained, and the four AVID pillars, as I mentioned, will help us to address the deficiencies that we have. We also have 5 of our teachers who currently aren't AVID trained, but we're looking towards the fall, and depending upon the courses that are available, they will be trained this fall. We also have a PUSD alum as an AVID tutor who is on track to become a math teacher within 1.5 to 2 years, and she assists in AVID as well as assists with math, and that's focusing on the math achievement and development. For our organizational time, we created common planning times. For the majority of 6th grade has common planning time, so they're able to not only plan together, but review student data, and not only talk about that data, but create action plans of how to address student deficiencies. So inside of your folder on the left-hand side, you'll see a copy of a teacher action plan. These teacher action plans aren't for the teacher. They're what teachers use in order to prepare how to differentiate their instruction and reteach according to specific standards that the students did not master. We've established or created spots in our schedule for 3 teachers who do push-in for added support for math and for ELA. We're starting with 6th grade and hope to, by into 2nd quarter for one subject and into 2nd semester for the other, to be able to expand to the 7th and 8th graders who are demonstrating difficulty. We have also added support and push-in for our special education students, our ELL students, and also students that are low performing but may not have been identified as either of the aforementioned categories. We're also, as a group, as a school, really focusing on the inclusiveness of all students in our everyday daily lives outside of just skills development, and having the mentality of what I do for mine, I do for yours. So if I see your student struggling, if I see that for some reason your students are having difficulty, that I'm going to step up and assist you in whatever way I can to make sure that we bridge in or bring in all students up to where they need to be. One of the, and this is a philosophy that taken from history and African American history, especially during the Depression, a lot of people were really wondering how a lot of African American communities survived that time, but they were used to not having enough, used to having lack, and there was a common saying, it's when I shop for mine, I shop for yours too. So if I know that my neighbor is in need, if I'm going to go grab one can of beans, I grab a can of beans for you also. And that's the same kind of culture that we are building at the middle school. We also have classroom visits for aligned objectives and making sure that they're congruent to the actions and activities. These are some of the things that we established as common things. The first thing is a common belief or commitment. On the right-hand side of your folder, you'll see a rededication commitment agreement. All of the teachers signed this commitment on our day 1 together. And reading through that, it addresses all of the pillars. In addition to the teachers making these commitments to our students, and I just wanted to make sure I clarify that these are not school goals. These are us as staff, as the adults on the campus, saying this is what commitments we're making to our students and to our communities. In some cases, common things that some teachers we are doing, but we have made a commitment that we're all going to do it. In addition to doing this, each grade level team created their own specific commitment to their students, understanding the different dynamics over the course of the years with the student population. We created common planning times. As I mentioned, sixth grade, the majority of sixth grade has common planning times in order to make sure that their plans are aligning with the pacing of the new curriculum that we have, which is our Edgenuity, along with some of the frameworks of beyond textbook, but also that we're able to talk about student work, and not just content-wise, but across the curriculum, student patterns of behavior. In addition to that, we also, every 2 to 3 weeks, we planned within our schedule a 52-minute block during the skills development time where Ms. Hanson, Mr. Godby here, Ms. Smith, our ISS person, and myself will take all of the students and we will facilitate skylights so that grade level teachers can do deep data dives, and that would be right after our interim assessments, which are our benchmarks. So they have that uninterrupted time in addition to Friday time that we'll be giving. And the reason why we did that is, number one, the gift of time is always something that teachers are asking for, and we wanted to show that we are dedicated to the process as much as of the things that we're asking of from our teachers that we're willing to give as well. Mr. Godby here, myself, Ms. Hanson, and Ms. Smith, we also all have a skills development class, first hour as well. We realigned our expectations, shared responsibilities across the curriculum, and now having platforms for assessment as well as the curriculum that you approved last year, Benchmark Advanced for sixth graders and Edgenuity for 7-8. Here are some of the different processes that we're doing for our instruction and intervention. Going back to Tier 1 instruction, what it should look like, starting from the basics, because if we strengthen Tier 1 instruction, we'll get most of the students there, and it will allow us to have smaller groups for Reteach and Enrich, which are more impactful. So the first step in the Reteach and Enrich are within the classrooms with the instructor, and then during our skills development, it will go into Reteach and Enrich the last 30 minutes of that block. And this year we asked all teachers to dedicate 1 hour that they shared with their students and parents after school, at least a minimum of 1 day a week, from 3:10 to 3:45, where they are tutoring students. In order to do that, and to make sure that we held all teachers to the same level of expectation, our athletic tutoring will begin at 3:10, and it will be governed by our coaches, and our actual coaching and practices won't actually start until 4 p.m. So it'll give the students time to go to tutoring, to get that support, to change, and then be ready for practice. One of the things with our athletics program is reminding students that they are student athletes, students first. Here is a graphic that really demonstrates our collaborative approach for shared leadership on our campus. You'll see there are 3 different people, and the top ones, I'll let you know what those are. It's kind of difficult to see from here. These are our solutions teams. Solutions teams are groups of individuals who collaborate, build trust in order to help the school system, the school as a system, move forward in our improvement. So these are the different teams that you see: attendance team, an intervention team, parent and involvement team, community connections, and cooperative culture. Each of these teams will be taking 1 or more sections of the IAP, and the steps will be attributed to their particular team. This is the same slide that you saw Ms. Woods present. Some of the things that we've already done are standards-based curriculum. You all approved last year, benchmark, advance, and edgenuity. Our comprehensive balanced assessment system we just adopted was the NWEA. Professional learning communities are being refined. We currently have them. Within our plan, you'll also see there, if you look behind the commitment agreement, is a draft of the type of plan that we will be working on. This plan is a preliminary plan because it's really led by leadership, but the plan, the IAP, and the final plan that we'll have for school improvement will have pieces that have been attributed by all staff members via the solutions team. So within that, you'll also see some of the accountability pieces with PLCs, aligning to our protocols that we established last year and or supported through the district protocols. Our multi-tiered system of support for our intervention team will be helping us with that particular piece with the help of Ms. Susan Pilkington. Our lead for that is Ms. Schmitter, and they'll be working together to make sure that we have all the things we need to be very impactful. Our observation feedback cycles are in the process of being finalized as far as the scheduling of it. And one of our commitments as leadership was to be in classrooms more often than not. And so as you come on campus, or if you call during certain times, myself or Ms. Hanson may not be available because we will be in classrooms. So when we created this vision statement, we intentionally worded it to state that students could reach their highest potential, because we knew that we were serving all students. Those identified as special education, having special education needs, ELL students, students that were brown, white, Native, African American, Asian, students who live in Kaibito, students who live in Page, students who would come, who would need to have their academic gaps bridged, and students who would come to us already ready academically, socially, and cognitively. So we knew that our goal would be to help to bridge these students' gaps at their most potential and most crucial point in their lives developmentally, in the middle school ages, where they're trying to identify who they are as well as changing physically. I remember middle school. I remember a couple of my teachers. Ms. Gurney was my ELA teacher, and Mr. Levine was my science teacher, and he was strict, but we loved him. I remember my principal and my assistant principal, Mr. Moffitt and Miss Andrew. I remember them because of the relationship and the trust that they created and they fostered. They could only find out my potential by finding out who I was as an individual and what I could do. And they never let me off the hook. I was a good child. I like to think I was a good child. They never let me off the hook because I was a good child, but they pushed me and challenged me to work with others, to become the best that I could be. So you have a copy of our commitments. We are committed as a staff to challenging each other so that our students can rise up and improve academically. We know that we play a huge part in redefining our culture, our instruction, in addressing school discipline, and creating those familial and community partnerships. So we know we can't do it alone. It's a struggle if you try to do it alone, but we can do it together. And we reach our destination faster. But we must be willing to make things equitable. One step at a time, but we'll get there with your support. Do you have any questions?
No questions, but very well laid out plan, very detailed. I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you.
How about public comment? Anyone? None. Okay then. Can I get a motion to adjourn from the public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 5:31. We'll call to order our regular meeting. Can I have a roll call, please?
Bob Candelaria.
Sandra Kinman. Dee McCary.
Rob Varner, Superintendent.
Ed Franklin. From that point, can we go into a moment of silent meditation, please? Thank you. Dee, can I ask you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Sure. All stand, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I believe the next thing we have approval of the agenda items. So can I get a motion to approve this agenda item, please?
I so move.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Wait for a minute.
No, you did, who made the motion to approve?
I did.
Okay, and who seconded? Okay.
Okay, now we'll get into the announcement and comments. Comments are held to 3 minutes. We do have a blue card, I believe, here also. So we need to read the public statement. Okay. Public comments concerning facility services, personnel, and instructions are not heard by the board until the district due process procedure are followed. Forms for filing complaints are available at the superintendent's office. To address the board, please fill out a blue card and give to the superintendent. The board reserves the right to limit public comments due to the time restraint. Okay. Anyway, was this Pam? You can, okay.
Did you leave this on? Oh, good. Can you hear me? Good. Usually they can hear me like in Texas, but last time I was at a board meeting, I know you had mentioned there wasn't very many blue cards, that people were, you just seemed so lost that no one was giving you blue cards. So I thought what I would do is give out a blue card for you tonight and invite every one of you into my classroom. I know you get to go through the schools, and I don't know if you feel comfortable coming into teachers' classrooms. So I thought I would extend an invitation to every one of you. If you want to just drop on into my classroom, you know, you have 30 minutes, you don't know what to do with, an hour, come on by. I'm at the end of the 7th grade hall, and I'd love to see you in my classroom. Thank you.
Do I need to get my daughter's approval too?
You might want to, but you can always show up. The look is always really good when parents show up. But I would
I've enjoyed being in your class so far.
Good, good. We'll see you in December.
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe next we'll go into executive session. 5:35. Can I get a motion to?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I make a motion to, wait a minute. Never mind, I'm on the wrong one. I thought we were going to do I know, but that one says expulsion. I thought we're doing readmittance.
Yes.
Oh, matter. Okay, all right, very good. I make a motion that we go into executive session pursuant to Arizona Revised Statutes, paragraph 38841.03A2 and Arizona Revised Statutes, paragraph 15843F, to consider and decide on a student expulsion matter. Second?
Second.
A second.
Okay, now we need a vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Says that out.
A state line?
Okay, everybody, we'll pick up with the special business.
Boogie boogie.
Recognition and approval of donations. We have one for a checking amount of $1,000 from St. David's Episcopal Church to the Friday Food Backpack Program, and a 2001 Ford F-150 value at $1,839 was donated to the Auto Tech Program by Darrell Goodman.
I make a motion that we approve those donations.
Second.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next one is on the reports, Governor Boyd's report. What else, Bob? Anybody?
Yeah, I do. Just a really good kickoff to the year. I think the week with all the teachers in went really, really well. Talked to several, and Bubba, and a few of the folks that were doing those kind of things. And then a really nice welcome assembly. And I really enjoyed being at middle school. It was fun first day. I was over there saying hi to those kids and saying, please be nice to those sixth graders. But no, it was really, really good. So just commending you on a good start, and hey, we're going to move down the road with this. It's going to be good.
I just want to apologize for not being there at the welcome back, but I really was not feeling well, so you didn't want me there. Anyway, so yeah, I apologize, but I look forward to a good school year. My kids so far seem pretty enthusiastic. Did wear off a little bit after the first 2 days, but no big crocodile tears yet, so that's a good start. Back in July, I attended Coffee with Cops up at Leechie, since we get many of our children coming from that community. And the major item that they really talked about was the busing, the transportation. Even though there's a 40-mile milepost, many of them just go right by it, so they were real concerned. But I just share my thoughts, and the supportive resolution that we supported in the past told them that that was in the works, so was able to represent the district. The other one is I attended a Chief Manzolito Awards Assembly on August the 23rd at Twin Arrows outside of Flagstaff, Arizona. And they had about 241 students that made the Chief Manzolito. That's one of the highest prestigious scholarships that's offered to a Navajo student. And I've been very, very adamant about that when I first came on to the board and shared my thoughts with the other board members regarding that. I've been kind of keeping track of it. And I just have to report at this time that the most that was awarded to a high school was Monument Valley High School. They had 12. Tuba City had 11. Navajo Prep, also that is very prestigious high school to attend. There's an entrance exam regarding interviews, test scores, written exam, and it's just really, I see the Navajo Nation's cream of the crop that's going there. And they had 9. And I'm really proud to say we came in next. We had 7. So I have a copy of the program here, and I thought maybe I'd share it with the board. And Gary, you want to just give this and share it with the others? And I kind of highlighted who the students were. And maybe Mr. Varner can read off those names. And you'd be proud because all the teachers had a big part in ensuring that they did real well.
So we had Deandra Begay, Byron Bryant, Sarah Cambridge, Rhea Holgate, Elisa Sidagini, Lalisa Watson, and Cameron Whitewater were all our recipients from Page High School.
Very good.
Awesome. So we're shooting for double digits this year. Very cool.
You have anything else?
That's it.
Okay. I just have one thing. I was fortunate enough here this past week to go to the high school dance out there, and very well controlled. I mean, very great atmosphere out there. I really wanted to come inside and dance, but I don't think that they would let me in, you know.
If I would have known you were there, I would have come watched you dance.
Yeah, we could have danced together, you know.
Oh my gosh.
But
It's a date for the next dance.
yeah. But I mean, they were just having a great time, and I knew my grandson was there for a couple of hours, and he thought it was great. I just think the way everything was set up and the way it was controlled and monitored, well, you know, we did a great job. And you know, it passed my expectations. So it was very, very well done. We'll get down to the next one, superintendent report, though.
Well, first of all, happy Code Talker Day.
Right.
We have many of our, the Navajo Nation governance most of it was closed today due to the holiday they observe out there. So total of our, number of our enrollment was 2738, plus the 88 at the preschool, and we're rolling about a 9% absent rate. So 9, well last year was 10, so we've done some improvements there. And we had 2,600 at the end of April, so we're optimistic that we are going to have more children in our schools this year than last year. And we are patiently waiting for that 10-day drop. So pretty encouraged. Overall, we started the school year with 2 non-properly certified teachers. We have a long-term sub at the, at Page Middle School in the EDP classroom, which is the emotionally, disabled, classroom, and at Earth Science at the high school. The good news is we have capacity to hire 4 more teachers, and we have room at the Lakeview, Desert View, and 2 at Page High School at this time. A good problem to have is we have 252 enrolled freshmen at Page High School, and they are swimming in freshmen, and I don't know where they're coming from, but we're glad to have them. That's a good problem to have. So, again, at one time, and Dr. Maurer was dancing on a table, you should have saw that, we would have put it on YouTube, because we had all our positions filled. Yep. And then we lost 2 in July. Currently I am serving on the housing committee for the town of Page. They're starting what they call phase 2, and I commented today that we only want to know when the shovels go on the ground so we can start putting houses there, and the bureaucracy sometimes is a little slow, and we need housing, and particularly for our teachers. So I believe there'll be some activity soon. Knock on wood, as long as they go over, get that red tape out of the way. So, update on the business office. Over the past 2 weeks, we've had a consultant from the professional group working through the internal and diagnostic audit of budgets, finances, and visions from over the last 2 years. I will share the findings with you at an appropriate time. I'm also pleased to state that our benefit program is continuing to go through. Thanks to the business office doing both the internal and external audit with the help of the Finley group, and so no employees to record has had any lapses on their benefits. Also, I hope you had a chance to look at the attachment and my recommendation to reorganization of our business operations. My goal for reorganization is to create a greater checks and balances and accountability. With this recommendation, I want to bring it back early spring to give you an update how it's going, and if there's any advice for the board that you want to look at in regards to the reorganization from that side. The next study session, we will look at the administrative salary schedule, also the administrative hiring practices in PUSD, along with the updated organization chart. So we're going to bring all those to you in 2 weeks. And again, these organizational charts will again be reviewed in early spring. I think it's important to bring it back and give you an update on how things are working. With the recommendation later of the executive director, we need a structure in place so we can continue to move forward with our business operations. There has been no lapses in our services to our schools, and currently we're putting together all our timelines to make sure that we hit those benchmarks. Gene Gardner, who was our consultant over the last 2 weeks, will be here in September to give you an update on all things current on our budget. And finally, we have a football game here Friday against Payson High School at 7 o'clock. If we lose, the need for teachers and coaches may increase. So, go Sand Devils. Got that, Rivers, back there? Give them the message, if you don't lose the Payson. All right.
Your reputation's at stake, huh?
That's all I got. Just kidding.
For unfinished business, I have none. Is that correct? We'll move down to the next section, the governing board consent agenda. Sonia, could I actually read that statement from if you wouldn't mind, please?
Yep. If I can find it. Where is it? All right. A copy of the consent agenda is available at the district administration office. All items listed will be considered as a unit by the governing board and will be approved with one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items unless a board member requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next thing we have on there is the calendar of events. I believe we all have a copy of that.
I just have a question
Yeah.
regarding the calendar. What time is the Page Middle School open house? Is it 6? 5? 5:30. What about high school open house? No, I did not, because I will tell you why I didn't get them. I got an email,
Point of
but
order.
I did.
That was a statement, not
No,
a...
and this is, yeah, no, but this is a future agenda item right there in the making. And that is that I put my kid's phone number as the primary number, so they know what's going on. So I don't get everything anymore.
And the entries on the district's website calendar do not include any times or locations. That's how we sent out the postcards
I only go to the mailbox once a week, maybe twice a month. Yeah. 6:30, thank you.
We've got to have involved parents here somewhere.
Yeah, well, you know.
Well, just so you know, I
Double
did get mine.
checking here.
I even got it at work also.
Wow, that's impressive. That's because you got your phone numbers plugged in, but, yeah.
Real quick, the September 14th at 5:30, we're going to have a tailgate right outside the September 14th against Valley Christian at 5:30. We're outside the A building over here for the hosted by the retention committee, teacher retention committee. Have some hot dogs and then go watch some football against Valley Christian, I believe. So that's September 14th.
Okay, our next things we have on the list is the additional agenda items. I believe it's the second reading and possible adoption of the policy service advisory 616 through 624. Wow.
We reviewed the 27 pages and all the updates from the policy review. We have seen no need to change anything, and our recommendation is to approve as submitted.
Let me do this after the fact. I move that we approve it. Need a
Motion
second.
to adopt.
A motion to adopt. And we need a second part of discussion, but that's fine.
Oh, okay.
That's right. That's good. Got a motion.
Got a motion.
Second?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
No. Well, do we need to discuss anything else? No. Are
Any
we good?
discussion on second readings?
I'm good. Do you have any
Okay.
questions? No? Okay, well, I guess someone can.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we skip that one. Oh, okay. Okay, Rob, okay. So next we have the first reading of the ASBA Policy Service Advisory 625 through 643.
So this is just the first reading. What Lynn and I do, we send out these to all departments that are relevant to give us feedback over the next few weeks. And we, of course, look at our current policies to see if they change anything, and then, of course, we'll bring it back for this. If there are, we'll bring them back, let you know which ones have been changed, and then moving back on, I think September 11th at the next board meeting for approval.
I have a question already on this one, if I may. And that is, the voting method at governing board thingies. What's a roll call vote? Is that individual votes need to be, it's policy, 627?
Policy 627 reaches, it is not clear in law that each individual governing board member must vote, and each individual member voting record is in the minutes, and that's what...
I know, we do that all the time, but what, I don't know, what does the roll call vote mean?
I think that what they're saying is that he would like, whoever is running the meeting would like to take kind of area.
Or can we still do by hand? Or no, is that not considered a roll call vote? Okay. I would just hate doing it individually, one after another. I would still like to do it all at the same time. Just my 5 cents for the future.
Ready to continue? Okay, the next item is the addition of executive director position. I need a motion to approve the executive director position.
I move we approve the executive director position.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second, please?
No.
Second, correct? I'll second it. Discussion now.
Okay, with the reorganization of the business office, again, I sent you the attachment in my board report and kind of gave an update. It's important that we have oversight over all business operations. The current structure provided very little oversight and checks and balances. This position created will allow for more checks and balances and supervise an environment with a more transparent processes. This position will have oversight of the curriculum and assessment throughout the district, in addition to the supervision of the district business office, and my recommendation for this position is Dr. Terry Maurer. And the fact it's late in the year to find a suitable replacement, so very happy with the work that Vinny's been doing, keeping all the pieces together. Jeanette and the team's been doing really well. I'm very happy with the work they've done, and I think, like I said, next business meeting we'll have an update on all things budget.
And would this be an additional cost to us? In the long run, or just in the long run?
With the attachment that I sent you, gave you an update, and then we'll dig deeper into that at our work study session of all those breakdowns.
Okay.
So right now we're just changing titles.
Okay, question. So today we're just approving
The title.
a title, but not a
Correct.
salary yet.
No, that will be part of our discussion in 2 weeks with our updated administrative salary schedule, and so we can discuss all those things at the work study.
Well,
I understand it's kind of backwards, but we are missing a key position in our district, and we got to continue to move forward. So
yeah, I wanted to state for the record, which I talked to you on the phone earlier today, is that I want all this revisited at the beginning of the year. Because I'm very uncomfortable with, I mean, I understand why we're doing what we're doing,
right.
but, I want to revisit having a business manager the old way in like January or February board meeting.
Part of my superintendent report was to bring the reorganization and
Right.
the org chart back for an update, so yes.
Yeah, but I want to revisit the beginning of the calendar year, not
Okay.
school year.
So January
Yep.
work study.
Yep.
Okay.
I also understand from your report that this could represent an organizational shift in terms of how we go forward, in terms of...
It could, but that's why we want to discuss it in
Right.
2 weeks and then bring it back to give you an update on how things are working within the operations.
Right, until that, okay.
Mr. Chair, I guess the concern that I had was when I first came on the board and we hired Mr. Varner, we had an assistant superintendent and he said that he could pretty well do what Ms. Kelly was doing. And we so since then, much of the work that Kelly did was divvied out to various employees at the district office. Then now we're back to establishing an executive director. Looking at the scope of work, I really see it comparable to an assistant superintendent. So that was the issue that I was concerned about. Also, the job description. When I read this put down, was it Thursday afternoon, Lynn? There wasn't a job description on there. And later Friday afternoon, I saw a job description. And then I questioned the organizational chart too. So it seems like we're doing things backwards. So that was the reason why I'm questioning this particular item on the agenda.
Rob, do you think when at a later time, can we have those, I know you're gonna have the org chart and the salary, can we, you think we may have the job description for at the same time, all those can be, you think it'll be possible?
Right here, on the other attachment, there is a job description. It's part of your attachments, along with my recommendation. So, part of your attachment. So, we could definitely look through that.
That's what I'm,
Job description. Okay.
Stipulate all that, I think that may solve some of the concerns that you need.
Okay.
I guess my recommendations, I'd like to see this further in a study session so that we can see the whole scope of the intent of the position. So what's going to happen to some of these that have been divvied out to the various employees, get them back in the midstream and have them continue without what they've been doing?
Part of the org chart that I'll be presenting you in 2 weeks will have defined roles and responsibilities for each position that I bring to you.
I need to clarify something here because the motion was to approve the executive director position, but now it sounds like you're talking about approving Terry Mauer in the executive director position.
That was my recommendation in my
Do we need to revise the motion is all I'm asking?
I think through our discussion, just what I see is we're mainly discussing the role and the scope of work to do. And later.
So we're gonna keep the motion as is?
For just the position title,
Well, as it's listed for us to consider, I hear what you say about Dr. Terry Mauer, but as it's written for us to consider, it's just a director's position and the job description at this point.
Right.
So that's why the motion was made the way it was. Now, I didn't hear that, again, I'm just reading the content of what we've got on our agenda.
That is what's on the agenda.
Correct.
That
Right,
he
that's what we're-
recommended.
And so at a later time, will we consider the position as recommended by you for an individual? So that, I think that's kind of cleared up a little bit.
okay, keep that. Okay, so do we have, all in favor to, approve the executive, director position?
Aye.
I don't know, I would much rather talk through all of this during a work study session. So, yeah.
Okay, so,
Everybody's got to vote.
So I say no then.
okay.
Not completely, but I like to discuss this
So
further.
I will set, both the ayes, so that's 2 to 2, so which means,
It fails.
yeah. Okay, so let's go on to the next subject. We have on the C, qualified evaluators for the 2018-2019 school year.
I move that we accept the stated individuals for qualified evaluators for 18-19 school year.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Rob.
So all these, folks that are listed have been trained through the, Arizona School Administrators Association to be able to evaluate our certified staff, mainly our teachers. We have one left, and that was, Mr. Henderson, who's being trained, I believe, in a couple weeks, and then he'll come back in the, September board meeting for approval.
Any further discussions from anyone? Can we get a vote, the motion to approve the, list of qualified evaluators?
Aye.
I'll second that.
Just aye? Okay, for everybody favor, okay. Okay, we'll go down to, just forget. We'll go down to, subject E, approval of the Page Unified School District Number 8 Athletic and Activities High School and Middle School Handbook for the 2018-19 school year. Okay, can I get a motion to approve, for the PUSD school book for the school year?
I move we approve the Athletic and Activities High School Middle School Handbook for 18-19.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Rob, please.
Mr. Rivers is here to present the, athletic handbook, and, I believe all the highlighted areas are the ones that he's gonna address this evening.
Yeah, there's one area that I didn't highlight, but I'll address that. So for the most part, there's not a lot of changes in there, just maybe a couple of changes for AAA policy that were updated in there. Bring your attention real quick. So on personnel 2.0, that was just an AAA bylaw update on page 32 of your book. And page 40, the concussion policy protocol was updated. We're also adding a concussion return to learn policy. Right now we have a return to play policy for athletics, but we don't have any policy in place to have students return back to the classroom. Studies have shown that it's just as imperative, if not more imperative, that they are monitored when they return back to the classroom as well to ensure that they have success. So we put that in place with our trainer based on what their national governing body recommendations. Any questions on that so far? Okay. On page 43, there's just a new insert on banners. We haven't had anything regulating our banners within our school district and the sales of our banners up to this point. So we just put in something there to help regulate those so that we can do a better job in helping our community if they want to purchase banners on that field. On page 44, numbers 12 and 13 were just added because they were left out before in regards to those who participate in marching band and WGI. Those requirements are okay with. And I think there's just one more section left. Well, we're going to have to update on page 52, the second paragraph, where it says middle school is from 3:15 to 4:20 for tutoring. We'll have to change the times for that to reflect what the middle school presented today for their athletic study. So that's a pretty simple, straightforward change. And the last thing is I've added a new evaluation for the coaches. This is the one that I forgot to highlight. But the old evaluation was crossed out. It's a much more, so that begins on page 67. The previous one, there were 2 pages beforehand. But on page 67, we've added something that reflects more on what we currently do for our classifying staff, but it's also got, more specific areas to evaluate. And then this one doesn't have it because it would have made the version extremely long, but at the end of each section, there's a comment box to be filled out so that we can give more feedback. The current one has one section, and then, it also allows us the opportunity, I'll meet with my coaches preseason, set goals, and then we follow up with it. That is the only thing submitted. Outside of some clerical corrections, it's fine.
There's a couple things, Ernie. Mission and vision statement and the belief statements, could you put those in to reflect our updated strategic plan?
Yes, sir.
And then on the contact page, you still list Greg Stanfield as principal.
I've updated it.
Okay, thank you.
Just to, I know AIA has been considering, and I think they're dealing with transfer and recruitment and that kind of, is that reflected here somewhere?
There is eligibility, I'll have to, let me see if I can find it. You speak to eligibility as far as moving from one school to the other, and it reflects that. If it doesn't, I'll put it in the current policy for that.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find the page,
Oh, under AIA, there it is, I think. It's becoming a huge issue, and I know we've had some kids transfer, and we've had some kids come in.
43 is, where it addresses transfer student information. To a certain extent, that just recites the bylaw,
Okay.
and which we follow on page 43.
Okay.
Any other questions? And it will be a smaller version. We will convert it into a booklet format. I put it in this size so you can read it. The other one will be a format, it will be half the size, half the paper. It will be given out to our coaches and we use Google Docs a lot more than we still have some papers.
Thank you. Okay, let's take a vote. All in favor for the motion to approve the PUSD athletic and activities high school and middle school handbook for the 2018/19 school year?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, the next one is revised contract for the superintendent of Page Unified School District, Rob Berner. We'll get, so I need a, let's see. Well, we need a motion. I'm trying to see, because we have a couple of different recommendations on contracts. So let's do a motion to consider the different options that we have for the superintendent's contract.
Well, I make a motion that we, approve the contract for the superintendent contract.
I second.
Okay. Discussion. And
May 22nd, we did discuss this. It came to the vote in June, and at my discretion, I asked for it to be tabled at that time due to personal, professional reasons, and now it's back.
okay. And if I'm correct, we have a recommendation of is a 1-year extension with increase in stipend, correct? Okay, so that's one of the options, and the second option is 1-year extension with no increase in stipend. So I believe those are our options that we have to go from.
My understanding was that it had to do with a gold plan medical. I think that was really all that was asked for when our discussions were in May, and I don't think it changed.
And
The
an
stipend,
additional year.
And an additional year, absolutely, yeah.
and the stipend for that went up by roughly
No stipend.
no stipend at all. Okay. Because when I was looking at the contract, I thought there was a.
I need to say, the stipend has to stay, because we can't put, the stipend has to stay, correct? And it's
Oh.
either the current amount that it is, or it's the increased amount that he's asking for stipend.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
So, it's just what you want to do.
Okay.
Okay.
So, my only concern, and go ahead and figure it, it's about the increase in the stipend. So your extension, you know, I'm okay with that. Because I know Robert Mike's got to make plans and everything else, and, I know when we started out and some of the things we've seen lately, some of the improvements, I think that's a plus for us. So I wouldn't have any problem at all with the
Yeah.
one-year extension. My thing is if just the increase right now financially with the stipend.
Well, once again, what was stated in the motion is only one-year extension and gold plan, so that, there's an assumption their stipend stays, and that's exactly what we have to follow, right?